Stories of ships stuffed with treasure from an era long ago rarely live up to the hype. This true story about a Spanish galleon laden with real treasure is worth millions.
Long-lost treasure worth $17.4 billion has just been confirmed beneath the sea, and now the battle over it is turning into a full-blown international fight. Spain and Colombia are already locked in a heated war of ownership, and now the United States has suddenly jumped in, claiming it might have rights too.
This company, Sea Search Armada, claims that they were assigned the rights that were given to this Glocamora company. But we have seen no evidence of that.
The treasure comes from a legendary Spanish warship that sank over 300 years ago. After centuries of silence, it's finally been found. And now, two powerful countries, a private company from the Third and an indigenous group, are preparing to fight over what it holds. So, what exactly did they discover down there? And more importantly, who really has the right to claim it? Breaking discoveries from the deep. In June 2025, something huge happened, 600 meters below the Caribbean Sea. A Colombian-led expedition using remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, finally gave the world its clearest look yet at one of the most legendary shipwrecks in human history, the San Jose Galleon. And what they found was real proof that this wasn't just another rusty old ship rotting on the ocean floor. This was the Spanish treasure galleon lost in 1708, which is now back in the headlines after 3 centuries of silence. The team recovered high-resolution images of gold coins known as macuquinas, which are irregularly shaped, hand-struck Spanish currency minted in Lima, Peru. You could still see the tiny details. There are castles, crosses, crowns, and even a date, 1707. That alone confirmed the timeline. But that's not all they saw. Alongside those coins, archaeologists spotted Kangxi-era Chinese porcelain, ornate jugs, intact glass bottles, and massive bronze cannons, one of which had the year 1665 etched right onto it. It's not just the quantity of artifacts that's staggering, it's the condition. After more than 3 years at the bottom of the sea, untouched by humans, the San Jose Galleon's remains are incredibly well preserved. And that's thanks to one thing. The Colombian government declared the site a protected archaeological zone in May 2024. So, no one is allowed to touch the treasure. Not yet. No gold has been recovered. Every expedition so far has been non-invasive. They just discovered it with cameras, scans, and incredible technology. So how did they actually pull this off? They used a Swedish-designed underwater robot, the Saab Lynx ROV, which can maneuver in tight spaces and send back razor-sharp images from deep underwater. These robots are equipped with advanced sonar systems, GPS tracking, and multiple cameras that capture every angle of the wreck. And not only that, they used photogrammetry, a method where thousands of high-resolution photos are stitched together to create a full 3D model of the ship and its surroundings, kind of like a virtual replica you can walk through without ever getting wet. This model helped them catalog over 1,100 artifacts scattered across the seabed, revealing exactly where things had landed when the ship went down. Cannons here, coins there, bottles in clusters are all frozen in time. But no gold was brought up. No silver, no emeralds, nothing has been touched. And that's intentional. The site is being treated like a time capsule. Scientists and archaeologists are making history by not grabbing the treasure first. Instead, they are documenting it, studying it, and mapping it to the millimeter. They are proving that the future of archaeology doesn't involve diving down and grabbing handfuls of loot. It's about preserving, understanding, and sharing knowledge without disturbing what's down there. And that's why the San Jose Galleon isn't just another shipwreck. It's the richest underwater treasure ever confirmed, somewhere between $16 and $20 billion. But right now, it's just sitting there untouched. And the deeper we look, the more we learn. So if it's all still underwater, why are different countries fighting over it like it's already been brought to the surface? The moment Colombia confirmed this wreck as the real San Jose, it reignited old claims. reopened decades-long disputes, and pulled Spain, Colombia, the US, and even indigenous nations into a legal and cultural tug-of-war. But before we get into who thinks they own it, and why this is about more than just gold, let's go back to the day this ship went down and why that moment changed everything. Why this ship changed everything. To understand why the San Jose Galleon isn't just some rusty ship at the bottom of the ocean, we need to go back to the very day it disappeared. June 8, 1708. The San Jose Galleon was the crown jewel of Spain's treasure fleet, the Flota de Tierra Firme. It was a convoy of armed ships tasked with moving the empire's stolen wealth from the Americas to Europe. At the time, Spain was deep in the War of the Spanish Succession, fighting to keep its colonial power intact, and the San Jose Galleon was carrying enough treasure to fund entire armies. Historical records say the ship was loaded with 180 tons of gold, silver, emeralds, and luxury cargo, all taken from Peru and Bolivia. There were Chinese porcelains, Colombian emeralds, and mountains of precious metals mined with indigenous and enslaved labor. All of it was headed to Spain, guarded by more than 600 crewmen and heavy artillery. But it never made it. Off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia, the fleet was ambushed by the British Navy. A brutal battle broke out. Witnesses say the San Jose Galleon took a direct hit and exploded right in the middle of the sea, sinking in minutes and dragging its fortune and crew to the bottom of the Caribbean. No one recovered it. For 3 years it vanished from history. But it's what the San Jose Galleon carried and what it represented that makes this wreck a global flashpoint today. This wasn't just a treasure ship. It was the beating heart of Spain's colonial economy. The raw materials mined across South America were processed, taxed, and packed onto ships like the San Jose to keep the empire running. The ship's manifest reads like a map of 18th century exploitation. Each gold coin tells you where it came from. Lima Mint, assayer's marks, even the mining district. The porcelain points to China's export economy, and the emeralds were pulled from Colombian hills using forced indigenous labor. That's why this wreck matters. The thing that matters here is how its value was created, and archaeologically, it is priceless. Preserved under 600 meters of cold, pressurized water, the San Jose Galleon is in remarkable condition. Unlike wrecks near shorelines, it wasn't looted. No fishing nets dragged it up. No amateur divers chipped away its history. The cold and darkness protected it. When Colombian researchers sent ROVs down between 2021 and 2025, they found cannons still mounted, cargo undisturbed, ceramics unbroken, and coins scattered like they had just fallen yesterday. Even the timber frames of the hull are intact, which is rare at that depth. Marine biologists noted that the wreck had become an artificial reef, home to coral and deep-sea species rarely observed. That's another layer of complexity, human history mixing with marine ecosystems. There is also the ethical question. Over 600 sailors died in that explosion. This ship is a mass grave, so recovering artifacts from it is a legal and also a moral issue. Colombia has been clear that this is not a gold rush. It is a preservation effort. No one is diving in with shovels and treasure maps. Every decision is being made with input from archaeologists, historians, and legal experts. And there is one more thing. What's happening with the San Jose Galleon could redefine how we treat underwater heritage around the world. It is becoming a model case for how science, ethics, and history can outweigh profit. But that dream is now facing some serious resistance because while the ROVs are mapping and scientists are studying, 2 countries and 1 private company are preparing for a legal war. The San Jose Galleon may be resting at the bottom of the sea, but above water, the fight for its treasure has gone global. Right now, 4 competing claims are circling the wreck, and each one has billions at stake. Let's start with the loudest player. Sea Search Armada, a US-based salvage company. In the early 1980s, SSA, then known as Glauca Mora, says it discovered the wreck's general location off Cartagena using sonar tech and private funding. They struck a deal with the Colombian government that gave them 50% of any treasure they helped recover. But that agreement fell apart. Colombia later claimed the ship SSA found wasn't the San Jose Galleon. and that they officially located the real wreck in 2015 with different coordinates and scientific backing from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. SSA took Colombia to court, and not just any court, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, where they are now demanding $10 billion, or half the estimated value of the treasure. Colombia denies the claim entirely. They say SSA's coordinates were off by almost 10 kilometers. SSA says that doesn't matter, they found it first, and they want what they believe they are owed. So yes, that's the United States going up against Colombia via a private company in international court. Now enter Spain. Spain is the original owner of the San Jose Galleon, which was a warship commissioned by the Spanish crown. So now Spain argues that the wreck falls under sovereign immunity. That means, under international maritime law, sunken military vessels remain property of the state that sent them out, no matter where they went down. Spain's logic is that the San Jose Galleon was on official royal business, not a private mission. It carried crown-owned goods. It flew a Spanish flag. It was sunk in battle. Therefore, all that gold and silver, and the ship itself, still belonged to Spain. Colombia, of course, sees things differently. The wreck is sitting in their territorial waters, just 16 kilometers off Cartagena. That puts it inside their exclusive economic zone, giving them rights to its resources under modern maritime law. Plus, Colombia hasn't signed the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, which is the very treaty that might support Spain's argument. That makes this case a bit complex. And then there's a fourth voice rising, the Caracara Nation, an indigenous group from Bolivia. Their claim is based on justice. They say the gold and silver on board the San Jose Galleon came from their ancestors' lands. It was mined under brutal forced labor systems during Spain's colonial rule. Their demand is a seat at the table. They need repatriation and acknowledgement, maybe even a share in what they see as stolen wealth. Their voice is growing. And in today's climate, where restitution and reparations are being re-examined worldwide, they are not being ignored. Meanwhile, UNESCO is watching from the sidelines, urging caution. They have warned all parties against looting or exploiting the site. They want any recovery to prioritize preservation, not profit. But there is a problem. UNESCO protections only fully apply if the country has ratified its conventions. And again, Colombia hasn't. All of this leaves the San Jose Galleon in legal limbo. Now the question is, even if the treasure is divided among the four groups, what are they going to do with it? What comes next? Colombia has already outlined its plan. Instead of auctioning off gold or splitting emeralds into museum pieces, they are building a maritime museum in Cartagena, designed to tell the full story of the San Jose. From colonial conquest to underwater archaeology, the goal is education and not profit. Replicas of the coins, cannons, and porcelain will go on display, alongside digital reconstructions of the wreck using the ROV data and photogrammetry we have talked about. They want this to be a cultural legacy. Meanwhile, Spain is pushing for diplomatic negotiations to repatriate any artifacts deemed part of their naval heritage. The Caracara Nation is calling for international recognition and reparations, hoping this case sets a precedent for colonial-era restitution. And Sea Search Armada is still focused on winning its $10 billion claim through legal channels. On the technological front, more ROV missions are scheduled through 2026, with improved AI-powered sonar and deep-sea imaging systems helping map the entire site before anyone removes a single artifact. And at the center of it all is a ruling from The Hague. Once it is handed down, it could reshape global maritime law, from how we treat sunken military ships to who owns history buried under the sea. Because the San Jose Galleon may be silent underwater, but what happens next could echo for centuries. So, what do you think? Who is the rightful owner of this long treasure? Share your opinion with us in the comments below. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more updates. Goodbye for now.